You're still muted, so if you want to participate, if you have a question, please unmute yourself. These are interactive programs for you to talk about. So again, this one page here, I think, is the most important thing that I could probably ever share with you about this business, because we're in a business where we all have to get outside our comfort zone on a regular basis. I've shared with you my personal struggle with call reluctance. I have probably a greater call reluctance than most all of you do. So I have to work on that every day. It is not something that I have conquered. It is something that I have developed tools and strategies to try and deal with. One of the things that I do is I call my mother first thing every day and talk to her, and then that makes the next call easier, and then the next call is easier. So for me, I have my struggles. You're going to have your struggles. But for any of us, we're not going to be able to overcome those struggles, those challenges that we individually have. They're stopping us from reaching our goals unless we understand why the hell we're doing that. If the why is not important enough to us, we're just not going to do it. That's just human nature, folks. If you have a goal and you think about it enough, it will magically happen for you. And you may think that that is some kind of, voodoo mumbo jumbo, but I can tell you by personal experience, it is not. So, just understand, for instance, our company. So we're just this little old company in the middle of friggin' nowhere, relatively. And we had a goal. We do have a goal for 50% market share. We've achieved that goal in some areas. In other areas we haven't. We've bounced up and down, but it is still an overall goal. It's something I think about all the time. And the reason that goal is important for me, guys, is I will tell you, is not the money. I don't even calculate the money. The reason that goal is important to me is that I'm a very competitive guy, and I'm not going to be happy unless I win, no matter what it is, whether it's in the real estate game or any sport or any other activity. If I'm not winning, I'm not going to be a happy guy, and I'm going to torture myself. So if I want to be less tortured, then I've got to be winning. So for me, having dominant market share is something that's important because of my competitive nature. That may be why your goals are important to you. I think a number of agents are compelled simply by that fundamental need to be number one. And that's a great goal. It's a little harder to put your arms around than a new car or a new boat or something tangible, but it can be just as effective. So none of us are going to do the things that we don't want to do without having a goal that's important enough to drive us through all the little conversations we have going on in our head that are going to tell us why we can't do it or shouldn't do it or need to go get a cup of coffee or do this or do that, to postpone what we know we need to do. The difference between a great agent and a not so great agent is great agents will do the things that not so great agents will do. That's the clear definition in my mind. That's all the difference. We all know what we need to do to be successful. Everybody on this call has the same idea of what it takes to be successful. The folks that are more successful than those folks that are less successful is that the folks that are more successful are willing to do the things that the other guys aren't. That's the beginning and the end of it, guys. That's it. So your goal has to be something that's important to you, and that's going to be different for you than it is for anybody else. So I can tell you some of our agents have very specific whys. They have things that are important to them that they understand. And I've helped some agents to be able to hopefully achieve those goals by helping them be able to refine what it is, focus on that, and then be able to, as a function of that, be able to do the things that they need to do to get that goal. So for some of you, you know, not reaching that goal is going to be the most important reason why you reach it. And if hopefully you guys can understand that. So, you know, we can all be compelled by the negative or the positive. We can be compelled by the fact that we, you know, we want to be number one, or we can be compelled by the fact that we don't want to be number two. I hope you guys can understand that, because either, you know, whether it's positive or negative, and I've told this story, which I don't think many of you guys really understand, is, you know, I was raised as a Catholic, and the nun said, and you can go to heaven two ways. You can go to heaven because you love God, or you can go to heaven because you fear him. Either one is okay. So you can reach the goal that you want because you really want it that much, or you can reach your goal because not reaching it is worse, is a bad thing, right? So the positive or the negative can drive you guys. So what is it for you? So what I want you to focus on today for the next 4 months is a goal that you guys can buy into between now and the end of the year. That may be a new car, or maybe a new boat, or maybe a family vacation. For you competitive types, it may be doing more this year than you did last year. Then you need to know your numbers, or maybe doing more than a competitor that you feel you are competing directly against is doing. It may be paying off a specific debt. It may be fighting for your child's tuition for school next year. It may be buying a home. It may be buying investment property. I don't know what it is for you, but whatever it is, you need to understand that, and you need to think about it, and you need to remind yourself about it on an ongoing basis. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do, everybody who's on this call, because I think this is the most important thing that you could do, not only today, but this year, and that is not go home today without identifying your why, what it is, and create an image of it, whether it's a picture of a boat or a house or your kid, or just a number one sign, or a number of listings. So it could be 10 listings, it could be 10 buyer controlled sales, it could be 10 closed transactions, a number, and post it in front of you so you can't help but see it all the time. Put it in the mirror in your house, put it on the front of your desk, put it next to your computer, put it somewhere that you cannot miss it every day. And that's, folks, I will tell you, that is where the magic begins. So again, going back to this little company in the middle of nowhere with this goal, I mean, so why should we be, why should we be in the top 500 companies out of 80,000 real estate companies in America in this little place down here in the Keys? Why should we do that? Why should we be number 31 in the Coldwell Banker system? Why should we have more agents in the top 100 than the next 6 or 7 companies combined? Why should we have the more sales than the next 5 companies combined in the Keys? Maybe that's not important to you. It is to me. The reason that we do that is because it is important enough to me to be able to develop goals for that. And so that's why we achieve those goals, because we set those goals, because it is important enough for me. So, and hopefully it's an important enough feature for you guys as well. So for you individually though, you need to understand what it is for you. And you need to actually create an image of it, because you do become what you think about. So Steve is going to send you the recording, a link to the recording of the Strangest Secret, which is about a 30-minute recording, and you can listen to that. And hopefully that will resonate with you guys so that you can understand how important it is to think about it, what you want, and then you can achieve it if you understand it and you think about it enough. So with that, so let's talk about a fourth quarter business plan. So that this plan is based on getting signatures on something. So it's based on you understanding what your why is and what activities and strategies and tactics you're going to use to reach the goal that you're going to set for yourself for the last 4 months of this year. So we're going to give you September as a bonus month to create these numbers for this month for your fourth quarter 2020 commitment. So knowing that every listing you take on average result in a paycheck for you of about $13,000, you can determine how many listings you want to take based on how much money you want to make, or you can create your listing goal based on what you think you can do in the fourth quarter. Remember, fourth quarter is going to be, it is a quarter when listings start to increase. Typically, year over year, the number of listings reaches their all-time low in September of every year, this month that we're in, and then starts to increase and peaks typically in February. The pandemic may have pushed that schedule back a little bit, those peaks and valleys, but typically every September it's going to be the bottom of the market in terms of numbers of listings. So the number of listings will increase between now and February, so you need to determine how many of those listings are going to be yours. You're not going to take all the listings that you go on appointments on. So if you know your numbers, you'll know that, for instance, you take 70% of all the listings that you go on appointments for. If that number is significantly less than 70%, I can tell you there's something wrong with your listing presentation. There's something missing from it. It's not compelling enough. It's not good enough to compete with your competitors who must therefore have a better listing presentation than you do. So if you have a listing goal, you know how many listing appointments you need to be on to take the number of listings that you're going to take. And if you take listings in this marketplace that are well priced, they're going to sell pretty much. So depending on the motivation of your sellers, you're going to be able to determine how many of those are going to sell in the next 4 months. The average list price, the dollars sold volume, and then your relative commission income. So for purposes of this, you can go through this exercise in detail. You can just create a listing goal. You make sure that you go on more listing appointments than you expect to have in your goal. So if you want to take 5 listings in the next 4 months, you probably need to go on at least 7 listing appointments to be able to get those 5 listings. If you don't go on 7 listing appointments, you probably will not be able to reach your goal of 5 listings. You can then determine your listing taken to listing sold ratio and your listings taken to listing appointments ratios. Those numbers are numbers that you should know for yourself. Those are going to allow you to create a reproducible, duplicatable business that you can understand. So it's not going to be a mystery for you guys. So you're going to know, based on the number of listing appointments you take, how many listings you're going to take, and therefore how many listings you're going to sell and how much money you're going to make. You can actually boil it down to, if you understand the hours that you work because you have a schedule, you're going to be able to boil it down to how much money you make every hour that you work. Wouldn't that be nice for you to understand how much money you're going to make every hour that you commit to work based on the numbers that you know relative to listings taken, to listing appointments, and listings taken to listings sold. You can determine that. That would be a pretty interesting number for every one of you guys. And it's going to be a bigger number than anybody who's working at Home Depot or Publix or any restaurant or anything like that. Real estate agents make more money in the Florida Keys than anybody else by far. You guys make more money than any lawyers, any doctors, any managers, anybody. This is a business without a limit in terms of how much money you can make, and that's one of the exciting things about it. So knowing the number is something that I think could be very exciting for you guys. So if you know that you commit to 2 hours of prospecting every day, and you know how much money you're going to make every hour. Whether you have any success that day, you're going to know how much over time, how much money you're going to make as a result of making that commitment. So I'm going to ask you on the listing side here to list the number, the business generating activities to go out and take listings. So that could be expired listings, could be FSBOs, could be open houses focused at sellers, could be a targeted marketing campaign, including sending out newsletters and geographic farm or price point farm. So on the listing side, we can understand, and we need to be in a position right now that you guys individually can build up your listing inventory, not only for the balance of this year, but for next year. With listings down, it is probably the most competitive part of this market right now. The way that you're going to be able to compete is to have a better listing presentation, whether that listing presentation is done in person or more likely being done over the internet. You're going to have to make sure that you can do that effectively and efficiently. You have a seller services proposal to send to every one of your sellers. You have the ability to personalize that so that it can be yours. You need to take the time to personalize that, make sure it's got your testimonials in it. All of you guys have fabulous testimonials from all your sellers. I just priced another half a dozen of them yesterday. I mean, these people just, it's amazing what they say about what you do for them and how much they appreciate it. The tragedy is that you guys don't share that with other sellers. I mean, how many of you guys have these great testimonials that you've never shared with your sphere of influence? I would say many of you, probably most of you, people would be very interested to read these compelling testimonials about what a great job you did. The fact that you provided them a higher level of service, that you made their transaction possible, all of the things that they say. The best, it's very common that I get comments from such saying, we've bought and sold many houses, the best transaction we've ever had in our entire lives. That is a pretty common, believe it or not, statement that I get from these folks. And we will be going through those either tomorrow or next Wednesday. And I don't know whether Nicole's going to be able to organize all those for you tomorrow or not, so that we can go through those. That is so compelling to me. To be able to hear from all the folks that you deal with and to understand what's important to them. Because see, we know what we think is important to them, but that's not always different. That's not always the same. It is often different. One of the main reasons that I know it's different is because virtually everybody who responds to those service first evaluations checks the excellent box in terms of value of services received. Excellent. They say that the 6 or 7 or 8 or 10% that they pay in terms of commission, which as we know now is on average about $40,000 per deal, is excellent value. See, they value your service, in my view, more than you do. They think it's more valuable than you think it is because you guys are very willing to cut commission on a regular and consistent basis. And we need to stop it. I see more commission cutting going on right now than I have in a long time, simply because there's so much money flying around right now. And it is a bad, bad place to go. It is a slippery slope. And once you go down that slope, you ain't coming back. Right. So, yeah.
Is there a way to get a copy of each person? Like, is there a way for me to get the comments that my customers have written to you?
Yeah, you get them Nicole sends them to you. You should get them directly.
Okay.
She should send them directly to you.
Okay. I'll ask.
If she has any that she hasn't sent to you, but every agent in the company should get them directly from Nicole. Nicole, are you on the call? Oh, Nicole's on the call right now. Are you on the call, Nicole? You're maybe muted. Yeah, you're there. I think I just saw you. Oh, that was
No,
Monica.
I'm not seeing her at the moment. Unless
She
she's
may
a phone
not be
number.
on the phone. We'll talk about it at sales meeting tomorrow, but I'll confirm that with you so that you have those. You can post them to your personal profile. You can put them in your pre-listing packages. You can put them everywhere. They are third-party testimonials are powerful. They're hugely powerful, Karen, and I'll make sure you get every one of them. I'll talk to Monica, Nicole myself.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, no, thank you. So same thing on the buyer side. Important for you guys to know your numbers, your BBAs, your conversion of BBAs for you. BBAs has got to be a significant component of your business. There is no reason in God's green earth why you will not work with sellers without a signed contract. On the other hand, you're willing to work with buyers over much longer periods of time, spend lots more time with them, give them the benefit of all your knowledge and experience without a commitment from them. The only reason you do that is because fear. And this is a fear-based industry. We all act out of fear. So I want you guys to stop being afraid. No one, and as I tell you, no matter what happens, they can't kill you and eat you. Don't be afraid. You're going to screw up. Things are going to happen. I'm here, Bruce here, we're all here to help you, protect you. Nothing bad's going to happen. You just got to go out there and do it, man. Ask these folks after you spend a little time with them to make a commitment to you in exchange for the commitment that you're willing to give to them. And 90% of the time or more, they're going to be willing to sign that agreement. And you are then going to have a piece of business that you can count on rather than what you have without that, which is, I don't really know what the hell it is. It's a hope, it's a prayer is what it is. But we live in a world of contracts. We live in a world of signatures. Without a signed contract, you have nothing, zero. Doesn't matter. There is no hope. There is no prayer without a signed contract, right? So you need to go out and get BBAs. You need to understand how many of them are going to convert for you. We share those numbers with you every week. The numbers are huge. They are significant to your business. So you need to understand how much business you're going to get from listings sold, how much from buyer controlled sales, and how much time you're going to spend working with sellers and how much time you're going to work with buyers. Newer agents are going to have to spend more time working with buyers. A more experienced agents are going to spend more time working with sellers. It is more efficient, more effective. You're going to make more money doing it. But until you can develop a big enough sphere of influence, you're going to have to work with more buyers. It's the unfortunate part of starting in this business. And again, you guys can determine how much money you're going to make per hour based on the activities that you're going to commit to do working with buyers. So what about business generating activities with buyers? So it could be open houses, right? Could be what are the things? So marketing and advertising in terms of direct mail, marketing and advertising in the newspaper, magazines, all those kinds of things can be directed at buyers. The best way to find buyers, obviously, though, is to have a listing. So if you have a listing, you have a product that a buyer is going to want. It's hard to sell your service to buyers. Buyers don't readily buy service because they don't think you're any different than any other agent. They do not think that the quality of the service that you're going to provide to them is any better than the quality of service from the worst agent, the most inexperienced agent in the marketplace. That's the unfortunate truth. So it's very difficult for you guys to sell service. The only way effectively to reach buyers is by having a product, which is a listing, so that you can get signed calls, so that you can get internet leads. So ultimately, you have to have listings to be successful in this business. Otherwise, you're going to spend a lot of time with buyers. It's not going to be as effective and efficient, but it is where you got to start in this business, unfortunately. So if you add up the total number of deals that you're going to do with buyers and sellers, you're going to be able to determine in the fourth quarter how much money you're going to make. Each one of those buyer-controlled sales is worth about $13,000. Each one of those listing sold is going to be worth about $13,000. So you just need to figure out how many of them you're going to do, and then work backwards to determine what activities you're going to do to be able to support the number of listings you're going to take and the number of buyer-controlled sales that you're going to commit to do. So you need to get to know your numbers. Your listing appointments to listings taken ratio, your listing appointments to achieve your listing goal. You need to understand what that is. And then you need to go out and do the activities that you need to do to get those listing appointments. Listing sold versus buyer sales, that'll tell you where your income comes from. Agents with mature businesses get at least % of their income from listings sold. So if you have a mature business is going to come to you. Buyers are going to come to you because you have listings. That's the nice thing about having a mature business, is it's self-fulfilling to a certain degree if you have the listings out there to support your business. And if you have a big enough sphere of influence and you're communicating with them on a regular and consistent basis, you'll be able to continue to have a good listing inventory. But you do need to go out and prospect. That means you do need to talk to those folks. So I can tell you I've had a couple of conversations with the single best agent in our marketplace who has told me on a couple of occasions, amazingly enough, boy, this prospecting, here's a quote, this prospecting really works. I should do it more often. And I don't know if she is on the call right now, but if she is, she knows that she did say that. And it is a true statement. So we can all do better in terms of communicating with our sphere, prospecting for business. It does work. We just don't put it on our schedule, and therefore it doesn't happen. Therefore, you guys aren't able to realize the benefits of it. Pretty simple. The reason you don't do that is because whatever the hell it is that you want is not important enough for you to actually go put it on a schedule and make it happen, because we get too goddamn complacent. It's pretty easy out there to go out and make, 100 grand right now in this marketplace. People are falling all over themselves to buy your listings. So, I can tell you guys, it ain't gonna be like this in 6 months. I've been through this. I've been doing this almost 40 years. I've been through these cycles, and I can smell it. I can feel it. I can taste it. This is an unsustainable bubble. It is not going to last through the end of this year. It will not. Trust me, believe me. I hate to tell you that, but it is the truth. For any of you guys that were around in 2004 or 2005, you know what it feels like, and this feels much the same as 2004, 2005 to me. It is just sort of unreal, unsustainable, and we cannot expect that it's going to continue. So you guys need to be able to know what your numbers are, to be able to create a reproducible, duplicatable business year after year that's going to give you the kind of income that you want to support your family and to support your goals. So what are the activities that you're going to commit to do in terms of contacting buyers and sellers, either by phone or direct mail, or emails, or social media posts, or open houses, so that you can understand, you can then create the kind of numbers that's going to allow you to determine how much money you're going to make every hour. Every one of you guys can give yourself a raise today. The single biggest thing you can do to give yourself a raise today is to do what I asked you to do a little while ago, and that is right here. Not to go home today until you figure out why the hell you're doing this and why it's important. That you go, you create an image of that, whether you scratch it on a piece of paper, cut it out of a magazine, print it off the internet, whatever the heck it is that you need to do. Get a picture of your kid and put it next to your computer. Post that image where you cannot miss it, where you cannot help but see it. I'm going to give you, all you elite agents are going to be getting Mike Ferry bobblehead dolls so that you can see Mike and he can be staring at you like Mike is right now on my desk. I'm looking right at him. And believe me, when I look at him, he helps me to be able to remember what my why is, and why I'm doing this. So that's the first thing that you need to do to give yourself a raise. So if your why is important, all this other stuff happens automatically for you. It's easy. This is the hard part, guys. Figure out what the hell you want. The rest of it becomes easy. If it's important enough for you, you'll put it on a schedule. It'll happen. You'll do what you need to do to get the results that you want. I hope you understand that. I hope you will take the time to do these 3 things that I ask you. In addition to that, I hope you will, I should have put a number 4 there. I hope you will listen to Earl Nightingale's recording of The Strangest Secret, because it's very, very powerful. It'll help you to coalesce your thoughts into your why so that you can understand what it is that you really, really want out of doing this, okay? Anybody have any questions about anything we've talked about here today? So let's see if I got any chats. So you got another, yeah. So we'll be done, Steve. We just need to renew our thing here, whatever it is we're doing with these guys before tomorrow, I guess. Anybody have any questions about anything we talked about today? I see a chat here from Suzanne about the city of Key West computers all being down. City of Marathon was hacked, Suzanne, just so you know. They've been down for months. I mean, you have to call over there to get information about open and expireds because their computer system still isn't back up. It is a huge mess. They had a ransomware attack and screwed them all up. Anybody else have anything? Let's see if I see anything else here. So we're going to wrap this up. If you guys have any questions about anything we talked about, you want to ask me offline, you want to call me, please do so. Please listen to, please think about your why. Please get an image of it, a representation of what it is. Post it on your computer. Share it with me. I'd love to know what it is for you. I'm asking a couple of our agents what it is, and they can't tell me in private communications. They don't know what it is for them yet. We've been talking about it. So once you figure it out, it makes everything else easy. So please do that, and please listen to Strangest Secret, okay? Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Thanks.
9 o'clock.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, guys.